Welcome, weary traveler of thought. Tonight, let us journey not through battles or revolutions, but through the quiet tick of time itself. Let the stillness of the hour cradle your mind as we step back, slowly, gently, into a story of how humankind learned to measure the immeasurable. Time. Let your breathing slow as we begin. Section 1. Time before time. Long before clocks, calendars, or even sundials, the only timekeepers were the stars, the sun, the moon, and the rhythm of the human body. Imagine a world where dawn was your alarm and dusk was your lullaby. In early societies, life was cyclical, marked by the migration of animals, the changing of the seasons, the rise and fall of tides. The ancients didn't measure time by seconds or minutes, but by shadows and stars. Days passed like slow-moving clouds. There was no urgency, only observation. Even the heart beat in sync with the earth, calm, patient, uncounted. They noticed the dance of constellations across seasons. The rising and setting of Sirius marked the flood of the Nile. In Mesopotamia, people began building ziggurats, not just for worship, but to track the heavens. Time, though unspoken, became sacred geometry in the sky. Section 2. The sundial's shadow. The earliest known sundials come from ancient Egypt, around 1500 BCE. Picture a desert stone casting a slender shadow on a path marked with the hours of the day. It didn't ring, it didn't tick, it simply stood still. And let the sun move around it. But the sundial had its limits. Nightfall silenced it. Clouds made it blind. And so, people began to dream of something more. Greek and Roman engineers refined sundials, carving elegant curves into marble and bronze. They added markings for seasonal variations. Each city adjusted its sundials according to its latitude, making time a local truth. Section 3. Clepsydras, the water that told time. In Babylon and China, civilizations turned to water to measure time. Clepsydras, or water clocks, dripped with solemn regularity. A bowl slowly filled or emptied, each drop whispering seconds into eternity. Imagine listening to such a device at night. The slow, rhythmic drip, 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 like rain in a quiet room. These clocks didn't just measure time, they became it. In some temples, priests used water clocks to determine the proper time for rituals. Time became sacred, slow, purposeful. In ancient Greece, clepsydras also regulated speeches in courts, ensuring fairness. In India, the Gati measured time in rituals. In China, water wheels turned wooden figures that struck bells. Time began to move things. Section 4. Monastic time and the ringing bell. By the medieval period, time was kept in abbeys and monasteries. Monks rose before dawn, prayed at set hours, and rang bells to mark the divine rhythm of the day. These weren't alarms. They were reminders of the sacred. Time began to shape life, not harshly, but with the soft guidance of chimes echoing through stone corridors. The pace of the monastery was deliberate, gentle. Clocks, at this point, were massive gears turning in towers, moved by weights and gravity. They were not personal, they were communal. Time belonged to the village. The first mechanical clocks appeared in 13th century Europe. They lacked hands. Only bells marked time. These bell towers became the heartbeat of towns. Section 5. The personal pocket watch. Fast forward to the 16th century. Time slipped into the pocket. Tiny mechanical marvels ticked in the coats of nobles and scholars. Though crude by today's standards, these early watches gave a sense of ownership over the hours. Yet they weren't rushed. One looked at their pocket watch not to count every second. but to orient oneself within the day. Morning, noon, evening. And so, the quiet ticking became a companion. Artisans crafted watches like jewelry, gold cases, engraved lids, enamel paintings. Each piece ticked with human hands behind it. Timekeeping became personal and precious. Section 6. Industrial Precision. The Rush of Time. The 18th and 19th centuries brought factories and timetables. Time became money. Clocks moved from homes into the hearts of machines. The slow pace of life quickened. For the first time, people measured their worth by their punctuality. The factory whistle replaced the rooster. The ticking grew louder, faster. Railroads demanded synchronized time. Railway time replaced local solar time, binding towns to steel tracks. Minute hands became critical. Schedules became contracts. But even in this period, there were sanctuaries. A home with a grandfather clock. A pocket watch passed down generations. A child watching the pendulum swing, unaware of urgency. Writers and poets lamented this shift. Dickens and Thoreau wrote of time lost to machinery. Yet, in quiet corners, people still watched sunsets, marked seasons, and waited for the kettle to boil. Section 7. Digital Dreams and the Vanishing Tick. In our modern era, time is everywhere and nowhere. Phones glow with exact minutes. Satellites synchronize the planet. But we rarely hear the ticking anymore. Digital clocks do not whisper, they flash. Time today is precise, but less poetic. Still, some seek the old rhythm. Hourglasses on desks, analog watches worn like heirlooms, meditation timers that ring like temple bells, belong not for control of time, but peace within it. Atomic clocks now measure seconds by the vibration of cesium atoms. GPS devices correct for relativity. Time has become both abstract and absolute. But to the soul, time remains a rhythm. Section 8. The Pulse Within. Rediscovering human time. Even in a hyperconnected world, the body remembers its own time. Circadian rhythms hum beneath the glow of screens. Sleep follows cycles. Memory drifts across decades. People return to slowness. Slow food, slow walks, slow breathing. We track lunar phases. We journal by moonlight. Timekeeping returns to its roots, not measurement, but mindfulness. In Japanese culture, the concept of ma honors the pause between things. In music, in architecture, in speech. The space, not the note, holds the magic. So too with time. Closing, a return to rhythm. And now, dear listener, as this gentle tale draws to a close, consider how you feel time. Not how you read it, but how it breathes with you. Does it come to you in the rustle of leaves outside your window? In the distant sound of a clock tower? In the rise and fall of your breath? The Story of the Spoon. A 3000-year journey from hand-to-table opening. Gentle invitation to a thoughtful journey. Settle in, dear listener. Tonight, we will explore a story not of empires or kings, but of something quiet, something simple, something so familiar it often goes unnoticed. The spoon. For over 3,000 years, the spoon has traveled across civilizations, cultures, and kitchens. From gold-gilded temples in Egypt to the humble soup bowls of our homes, it has served queens and children alike. Tonight, we follow its journey. As your breath slows and your thoughts begin to soften, allow the rhythm of this tale to carry you gently through time. Part 1. The First Scoops. Ancient Origins. The earliest spoons were not forged in fire, but carved by hand. In prehistoric times, people used seashells, hollow bones, and smooth stones to lift food to their lips. In ancient Egypt, around 1000 BCE, spoons took form not only as tools, but as symbols. Made of ivory, wood, or stone, they bore engravings of gods, animals, and hieroglyphs. These were not for soup. They were for ceremony, for offering honey, oils, and milk to the gods. To hold a spoon in Egypt was to hold reverence. Meanwhile, in Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley, early spoons bore simpler forms, more utilitarian, shaped from bronze or clay. They stirred herbal infusions, served rice dishes, or distributed grain. The spoon became a bridge between hand and nourishment. Part 2. Spoons of the sacred Greece, Rome, and rituals. In ancient Greece, the spoon was modest. A utensil, yes, but one often replaced by fingers, bread, or the drinking vessel. Yet among the upper class, spoons of silver and bronze began to appear. Slight curves, flat handles, occasionally etched with myth. The Romans, more practical and indulgent, refined the spoon. Their cochlearius, a pointed spoon for scooping shellfish and eggs, was both elegant and efficient. It was often paired with a knife, forming a precursor to today's tableware. As Roman roads carried goods across Europe, they also carried eating habits. The spoon, quietly, began to spread. Part 3. From faith to feast. Medieval to Renaissance spoons. In medieval Europe, the spoon became more personal. Pilgrims carried spoons from sacred sites as relics, stamped with saints' emblems. Wooden spoons were common, worn smooth by stew after stew. Pewter spoons graced wealthier households. At feasts, nobles sometimes brought their own silver spoons, often engraved with family crests. It was not just a tool, it was a sign of status. During the Renaissance, spoon-making became art. Goldsmiths created elaborate pieces with floral handles, cherubs, and even music boxes inside. In England, apostle spoons, each depicting a different disciple, were given at christenings. The spoon became a gift, a keepsake, a prayer. Part 4. Across the East, the spoon in Asia. While the West developed spoons as companions to forks and knives, Asia followed a different path. In China, porcelain spoons emerged during the Han Dynasty, smooth, rounded, and perfect for soup. With chopsticks came the realization: a spoon's purpose was not to cut or spear, but to cradle, to lift, to preserve form. In Korea, the sujeo set, spoon and chopsticks, became a cultural standard, elegant and balanced. In Japan, wooden or ceramic spoons accompanied miso and rice porridge, designed for harmony in eating. Here, the spoon was not a luxury, but a reflection of mindfulness. Part 5. The colonial spoon. Trade, expansion, and silver as European powers colonized new lands. They brought their customs with them, including silverware. The spoon entered new tables across the Americas, India, and Africa. Silver spoons became part of dowries, symbols of wealth and European civility. Yet local cultures adapted and transformed them. In some African tribes, carved spoons became ritual items. In Native American communities, Horner antler spoons retained ancestral shapes. The spoon learned many languages. Part 6. The industrial spoon. Uniformity and utility. The 19th century brought steam, machines, and mass production. The spoon, once carved or forged by hand, now emerged in factories. Identical, gleaming, and cheap. Stainless steel arrived. Homes had sets. Teaspoons, tablespoons, soup spoons, dessert spoons. No longer a luxury, the spoon became part of daily life. Children learned to eat with them. Soldiers carried them into trenches. Hospital trays held them beside medicine cups. The spoon served everyone, From kings to the weary. Part 7. The modern spoon design, memory, and meaning. Today, spoons come in every form, from biodegradable bamboo to ergonomic plastic, from designer brands to camping gear. Yet we still attach memory to them. The spoon that stirs your morning coffee, the one that fed you as a child, the tiny silver one saved from a grandmother's drawer. Some people collect them, souvenir spoons from cities and countries. Some keep the odd bent one as a keepsake. Spoons are quiet witnesses to our lives. Part 8. The philosophy of the spoon. What it teaches us, the spoon, and its gentleness, offers lessons. It doesn't pierce or cut. It gathers. It lifts. It brings nourishment. It reminds us of care, of being fed, of feeding others. It invites reflection. How something so small can serve so steadily. How it bridges culture, class, and time. How it adapts, yet stays the same. A spoon is not only a utensil. It is an invitation to eat, to share, to remember. Closing. The spoon and you. As we close this 5-hour reflection on a tool so humble, think of the spoon in your life. Where has it been? Who has held it? What stories has it known? Tonight, as you rest, remember. Sometimes the most ordinary things carry the deepest meaning. Sleep softly with a spoonful of history in your heart.